Hello, this is Michael Rubin, and we have been dealing with tongue blocking. As you've noticed, my beard got a little shorter since the last one. There's a personal reason why I've shaved it. It's none of your business. So, what I want to talk about today is tongue articulation. Tongue articulation is when you begin or end a sound by putting your tongue to the roof of your mouth, generally using the syllable T, like ta, 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 ta. So I'm going to blow in a puckered style into 4-blow on my C harp. Ta, 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 ta. It enables you to get a crisp sound at the beginning of a note, but it also enables you to continue breathing while separating notes. So one long breath, and it sounds like I'm going. That's one breath. This is really good news because the difficult thing about breathing on the harmonica is starting your breath. Every time you have to start a breath, it takes a lot of energy. So one of the main things you're looking to do as a harmonica player is to reduce your starting breaths. So there's lots of ways to reduce starting breaths, and tongue articulation is one of them. And you don't have to use the T sound. You can use a lot of different sounds. I like T, D, and L personally, but anything that gets your tongue to the roof of your mouth will work. You can also end on a T sound. Okay? So, when you tongue block, many people, I've even heard really famous harmonica players say it is physically impossible to tongue articulate while tongue blocking. Well, I disagree. Let me show you how to do it. Put the tip of your tongue on your bottom gum line and say ta ta ta, ta ta ta. You sound like you got a speech impediment, but you're still hearing the T sound. So, a lot of people say you can't do it because what they're saying is when you say T, it's the tip of your tongue that goes against the roof of your mouth to make the T sound. Well, if the tip of your tongue is either on your back bottom teeth or somewhere on the harmonica, you can't use the tip of your tongue. So what they're missing is that there's other parts of your tongue that do the same thing. So if here's the tip of my tongue and here's the top front of my tongue, ta 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 ta, and suddenly a draw note is out. I love harmonicas. That's my big joke. I love harmonica. I hate harmonicas. So you can definitely tongue articulate while tongue blocking. Now, is it a softer sound than puckered? Yes, it is. Puckered. Blow, 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 draw, 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 draw. Tongue blocked. It's easier on the draw, I think, more distinct. But in both situations, I think it's fair to say that the puckered style is crisper than the tongue block style. Can you do this? Tella, 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 puckered. They call that triple tonguing. Can you do that while tongue blocked? I don't think so, but prove me wrong. It is my belief that everything that we think can't be done on a harmonica is basically because of our own personal limitations. And that there is always somebody out there who says, look, I figured it out, boom, and sure as can be, they have figured it out. So I believe you cannot triple tongue while tongue blocked, but I believe it is possible that somebody else can prove me wrong. So be that person. So yeah, I think in both situations, regular tongue articulation, which is crisper when puckered, and triple tonguing, which is impossible, as far as I know, tongue blocked. So in both situations, puckering wins. So people say you need to be 100% tongue blocked. It's the only way to get good tone on the harmonica, which I totally disagree with. But here it is, a place where puckering has advantages over tongue blocking. So, can you tongue articulate while tongue blocking? Yes. Do I do it? Yes, all the time. Is it as crisp or as fast as puckering? No. Okay, so that was a fairly short part of the lesson. So let's move on to what I think tongue blocking is really good for: slaps and pulls. P-U-L-L-S. Let's start with the pull. So I'm going to tongue block and play hole 4 blow. So I'm blocking holes 1, 2, and 3 out of the left side of my mouth. Now I'm going to continue to blow air and pull my tongue away from the harp. And I get a big chord. So that's a tongue pull, often used in this kind of music. And you don't have to be as pumpy as that. You can be a little more subtle. So, one thing you can do when you pull your tongue away is you can do tongue articulations on the chord. So you could be okay. So then the opposite of that is a slap. A slap is when you start with a chord, continue breathing, and while breathing, slap your tongue onto the harmonica, blocking holes 1, 2, and 3, and leaving you with 4 blow, all in one breath. That is a tongue slap. So, slaps and pulls are crucial for blues, with an emphasis on slaps. Now, I say crucial. I'm not sure if that's exactly true. You know, there's guys out there like Paul Butterfield who are supposedly pucker players, although Butterfield could do octaves, which is a tongue block technique that we'll talk about later. And there is a debate as to whether or not Paul Butterfield was a U blocker. There is a recent video that came out of Boy, I love this guy. I can't remember his name, the drummer for the band, Levon Helm, who says that Butterfield taught him how to U-block. That does not mean that Butterfield himself was a U-blocker. It could be that Butterfield was aware of the U-blocking technique and teaching Levon because that was the easiest. Most analysis says Butter was a pucker player. My point being is that if you agree with me that Butter played authentic blues, then it is possible to play authentic blues without tongue blocking. If you disagree and say, no, that is not the blues, then maybe you're right. You need to tongue block, because if you listen to the biggest names in harmonica, Little Walter, Sonny Boy Williamson, George Smith, Big Walter Horton, these guys were slapping and pulling all of the time. And when you learn to recognize the sound of a slap and a pull, you'll realize that if you want to emulate that style of music, you need to know how to tongue block. There is no real way to do it otherwise. There are some fake ways to do a slap. For example, I'm going to do a chord 1 draw, 2 draw, and then do it in the pucker style, and then bring my mouth closed to just 2. So I'm going to do 1 draw, 2 draw, to 2. Now I'll do 1, 2, 3, draw to 2. And sometimes that can sound really cool, especially on a low-pitched harmonica. So that is kind of a puckered imitation of slapping. It is possible while you blocking to take your tongue on and off the harmonica. And what you get is a chord that surrounds the hole that you're playing. So if you're playing hole number 4 blow, and you pull your tongue away, you get the chord 3, 4, and 5. So it's kind of bassy and it's kind of trebly. So these are things you can do to emulate the tongue block slap, but to really get the tongue block slap where you get a bass chord on the left side of the note that you're playing, you can pretty much only do it in the tongue block style. Now, how do you practice this? I would say very, very precisely. So let's take the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do scale beginning on 4 blow and start with pulls. So I'm going to play 4 blow and then pull and get 1, 2, 3, 4 blow. Then I'm going to change to 4 draw and I'm going to start right on 4 draw. This is very important. And so the two sounds would be it is very easy to screw up and get this. That is not what you're trying to do. You need to be very clean. Then do the opposite. Do the slap into the chord into the note. They sound slightly different. Here's pulls. Here's slaps. Very slight difference, but if you know what you're listening for, it's a big difference. Then I would do note, chord, note. Then I would do chord, note, chord. That's actually a very common way to play. All right, there's more, but I think this is a good stopping point. I will see you later.